I introduce you. I introduce us.
Yeah, here's the thing. Fucking intro. Gundam be awesome. Let's just get into it.
Fuck the intro. Let's go, bro. Check this out.
I'm on a personal level, I'm very happy that I recommended this one because this show fucking rocks, and I kind of forgotten how good it was. Like I remembered it being pretty fun, but watching it week to week is a very different experience than like watching the show all as one kind of piece of media. And man, this show fucking rules. I love Iron-Blooded Orphans.
Okay, so I'm halfway done with the second season, just because
Okay.
a new job and all that. I don't
Sure.
care about spoilers
Yeah.
if we want to talk about that.
Oh,
So,
bro, no, I can't.
oh wow,
I
it's
can't
like,
spoil.
okay,
The ending is you gotta. Well, here's what we're gonna do: is we're gonna record part of this podcast, and I'm gonna get it worked on, and then you're gonna finish the rest of it, and then we're gonna come back and talk about the end because
Okay.
the end is incredible. You gotta watch it. You
that
gotta
might
see
help
it.
me too because here's my experience with Gundam. As a
Mhm.
child, I saw it and I thought it was fucking awesome, and then it just kind of fell out of like the things I watch because I'm Oh yeah, I even got my Princess Leia shirt on today.
Nice.
So I'm the Star Wars guy. You're the Gundam Evangelion guy. That's just our fandoms for all the people. So my stuff has always been Star Wars. I'm just like super into the lore and space politics there. So that's how I went into this. Like I've watched some Gundam things over the years, but never like went in, invested, like, let's fucking rock this out. And I agree, this show is fucking awesome, and Mikazuki is the shit. Like,
Yeah,
just
that
period. That's how we're going to
that
start this.
that short king is just a force of nature. Like literally, he's like watching a hurricane in this show. Like
It's
you can't.
wild.
You just get swept away. It's nuts, and it's I don't know. When the show first aired, he got kind of a reputation as like an edgelord kind of guy.
Mhm.
And on a rewatch, that's definitely not true. The edgelord is McGillis. That dude is
Oh yeah,
fucking
for
edgelord.
sure, for sure.
Um,
And I enjoy space politics. I did not realize that there was so much space politics in Gundam.
that is what Gundam is. Like, if you like this vibe, this is, I think, one of the best entry points because it hits on a lot of the themes of Gundam. But like, if you like the space politics stuff, buckle up, man. Gundam has a ton of that. Like, the Gundam you're familiar with is going to be Wing Gundam,
Yes.
which is um fine, but it's definitely like melodrama first and then like realistic situations second.
It's fair. Yeah, I watched that
And
one
then
middle school, junior high, early high
yeah,
school.
it was on that Toonami block. It was that,
Yep.
and then they followed it up with G Gundam, which is not. I mean, it's a great Gundam show, but it's not a traditional Gundam show by any metric. It's like the super robot version of Gundam, which is if you aren't familiar with like mecha stuff, so Gundam is like the progenitor of the real robot genre, right? Where they're like realistic mechanisms of war. Mecha before that had kind of been like big metal superhero, right?
Okay, yeah.
So that was a big distinction that pulled it apart, and made it unique. And that's kind of where they've continued forward. So G Gundam was a weird break from that, in that they went back to like, no, these are crazy superheroes.
Yeah, that was the
We're
one
gonna
where
have them fight.
they had like the chibi ones. Which one was the one the chibi Gundams?
I mean, that's not that one. There's a bunch of those. They're SD Gundams.
Yeah, that's what it
there's
was,
a few
yeah.
series like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're probably remembering that CG one. I think I
Yeah.
remember that too.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything. I didn't watch that one super closely. That like the things I like about Gundam are not in that show.
That's
as far as
fair.
I know.
So from watching this, I have gathered there's like three main parts to Gundam. There's the Gundam from the Calamity War. That's referenced a lot, so I feel like that's where it all starts. Then space politics, and then child soldiers.
So you are correct on two of those. The Calamity War they talk about, that's just for Iron-Blooded Orphans. That's their own thing.
Okay.
It's actually one of the few reasons that I think we might see more Iron-Blooded Orphans at some point in the future. Usually when there's a Gundam show, they like give you the storyline that you care about, and they don't really give you a bunch of like beforehand knowledge or a bunch of post, like what happens after knowledge, and they kind of gave you both directions in Iron-Blooded Orphans. So I wouldn't be surprised if down the line there is another series in that timeline.
Okay, yeah. Now, let's go back to that, because I've had to go down a few rabbit holes, because that's what I do when I do this. There's multiple timelines.
Yeah.
How does
It's
that work?
honestly, it's not complicated. There's the original Gundam series, and that's got a bunch of follow-up series that continue that timeline, and that's called the Universal Century.
Okay.
So that's the original Gundam up through, I think the most recent thing in that universe is the Hathaway's Flash movie, which is very cool, but I can't really recommend you just like jump into that because it's built on like 40 years of Gundam history.
Heard. Yep. That's fair.
Right. So, which is why I like that they do these other timelines, right? So I can recommend you Iron-Blooded Orphans, and all you need to do is watch Iron-Blooded Orphans. There
Sure.
might be a reference to other series that you'll like miss if you haven't seen them or you're not a huge Gundam fan, but those are not integral to the plot. Like the plot is its own thing. And I think that's something that makes Gundam, even though it's kind of an old series, super approachable, is that you can jump into whatever the newest alternate timeline is and have a good time.
Not like One Piece.
No, One Piece is awesome, but you like
I'm
jumping
terrified.
into One Piece
I can't
is
jump into One
it's
Piece.
not that bad. It'll like, if you don't have time to dedicate to it, it'll take a while to watch it, but you could read the manga. Like the manga's like about 1,200 chapters, which sounds like a lot, but it's like comic books, right?
Okay.
They snap by. Some of them are just like cool fight scenes, and so they take as long as you want them to take to read. Right? One Piece is awesome. I recommend One Piece all the time. But yeah, it's
I need to start One Piece. So before we get into the whole Iron-Blooded Orphans, is there anything else we need to know about Gundam or a prelude before people start watching this? Because I just raw dogged this and I enjoyed it.
yeah. I would say any Gundam that's not part of the Universal timeline, just jump into. It's there. There's not a bad Gundam. There are some that are not as good as others, right? But like it's sort of like the Halo games, right? It's like even in their most recent days, I wouldn't call any Halo game a bad game. They're definitely not as good as they were, but like if you can sit down with it and have a good time, it's a good game. That's kind of what the Gundam series is. You can sit down with the Gundam series, have a good time.
It's fair.
Good Gundam series.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything particular you need to know about Gundam. Just watch, Iron-Blooded Orphans, and you'll get that universe's story. Yeah.
All right.
So
Very good.
you said you've watched about halfway through the second season. So talk about the first season. Give me your thoughts. Give me what the ride was like for you.
All right. So starting off, it starts off intense. I was not prepared for was it the children being the human debris as they call it, which is basically just the child soldiers, right? They just what they do.
It's like a step down from that because like Mikazuki is a child soldier, but he's not human debris. Human debris are like suicide slaves, basically. Like they mean nothing, right? So there's a further degree of separation from child soldier even in this universe.
Okay, so these are the things that like hopefully as we talk about this, it will help me finish kind of the rest of the last season because again, it's been great. So he's the shit. Orga. I'm trying to figure out like how I wanted to because I want to talk about the characters. So like the whole main thing with Orga.
Talk about them kind of as they come up, right? Because
Yes.
one of the things that's great about this show, especially on a rewatch that I discovered, is that like you have your main characters, but like the protagonist of the story is Tekkadan as a group.
Yes.
Right. So everybody is important. So just talk about them as they come up. I don't think we'll miss anybody just by like talking about the show.
Heard. Great. So yes. So yeah. There's Tekkadan, Orga, Mikazuki. That one took me a little bit longer to figure out because they are, I mean, not like the group, but everything's run by basically Starbucks and warmongering like across the universe between Mars and Earth, right?
No. It's so basically the Earth is kind of divided into like 4 groups, right? There's like 4 major countries now you could think of that like compete. Mm-hmm. And then they have colonies out on other planets. So it starts off and Mars is under control of these other like corporations from Earth.
Okay.
And then the only sort of police out there is the Gallarhorn.
Yes.
Who are not good at that, obviously, as you watch throughout the show.
Gallarhorn
and that's
sucks.
kind of where we start, right? So we open up with our with Tekkadan before they're Tekkadan as part of this like private military group that goes and does like guarding for illicit trade and unillicit trade, right? They're just kind of like a mercenary group that would exist in any sort of war-torn country nowadays, except they use child soldiers because they're cheap and human debris because they're free, and that sort of thing. And we open up on them getting on the wrong side of Gallarhorn, and then Orga and Mikazuki using that kind of moment as an opportunity to seize control of this organization by force.
Yes,
they
yes.
outsmart the people who are in charge as they're trying to flee, and they have them act as like decoys, and they come back and they like literally clean house. Like they remove people from the positions forcibly.
Yes. They shoot some people in the face just regularly. Like, dude just keeps... Okay, this is like more to the second season after the end, but like, dude just keeps a Glock in his arm. Like, and just ready at all times.
I hate to break it to you, man. It's been there that whole time. The first flashback you get of like Mikazuki and Orga is
just dropping
Orga watching Mikazuki fucking shooting a dude to death. Like
just dropping him.
Mikazuki tells you who he is the moment you meet him. That like dude is like...
Here's like we were talking about, I don't remember if we were talking about this on air like or not, but like how people like would think he's an edgelord, but I'm like, no, dude, the dude just knows who he is and doesn't give a shit. He has one goal. Just one goal.
Yeah, like I would say like he's the protagonist, so they paint him in a more heroic light, but like he's essentially just a traumatized child soldier, right? Yeah. He's like become used to what he does, and he does it efficiently because that's how he can continue to live in this world, right?
Mm-hmm. And he's happy doing it.
I wouldn't say that, man. Okay. I would not say he's happy doing it, but I'm saying he has no problem doing it.
Okay, yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that. And then, yeah,
there are definitely moments where he enjoys what he's doing, right? But it's usually not just the murder part. It's sort of... It also a lot of these themes that kind of come up, I don't want to spoil to you because they come through in the ending, and a lot of these things that start early on kind of tie up nicely in the finale.
Oh, there's actually a nice tie up, like their storytelling, and
yeah, man.
Oh my god,
you will. I think once you finish the series, you will not forget it. The last 6 episodes, man. I literally watched them this morning. I just waited until this morning to finish them off. They're so fucking good. They make the show. Like, I love the first season. Back when I watched it the first time, I thought that the first season was like better, and then the second season was a little weaker in the middle, but ended strong. And watching it all at once, the second season is so good, and that finale is just so good. So good.
Okay, so first season, like quick recap. They go through, they do the Tekkadan, they deliver. Oh, I'm so bad with names.
Cordelia Aina Bernstein.
Yes, her picture there.
One of the long running jokes in Gundam is the names. In the original series, as it was like continuing to go out, it was created sort of in the same way that like Transformers was created. Right, it was created to sell toys, but the writer of Gundam was like, well, I don't want to sell toys. I want to tell a story about war, and so he kind of just did his own thing. And at some point, he realized that the executives who like approve his stuff weren't paying attention to what he was writing. They were just interested in selling toys. And so he starts naming his characters like crazy, crazy things, and they just keep getting approved. There's one dude whose name is Makuv. It's M''Quve. That's his name.
I love that.
They let that go. They had no notes.
just happened. Heard. All right.
So, and that's sort of been an ongoing thing for Gundam since then, is that Gundam always has several terrible names in it as like an honor to that. Notable ones in this one, I think my favorite is Chadden.
I didn't know his last name was Chadden.
Yeah, man, they only say it once. It's hard to catch, but his name is Chadden, and that's A+. Good job.
So, Cordelia.
Cordelia.
Oh, jeez. Again, terrible with names.
Yeah.
So how does nobody know who she is? I know that space is huge, but that was like my one problem. So
the thing is that people do know who she is. That's sort of she's sort of your like Joan of Arc style figure, right?
Yeah.
As they quite literally point out later in the show, but so people do know who she is, but they don't. It's sort of like if you lived in the same age of Joan of Arc and you'd heard of her, but she was like passing you on the street, you'd have no idea.
But they have media. They have internet. They didn't have internet back then.
Yeah, but how much do you know about a famous Chinese person who's famous in China?
Okay,
that's just fair. A country away. That's not another planet. Okay. You know what I mean?
I'll accept that now. I can gather that.
What you have to remember is that this show starts so small. It's about like one small group of kids in this tiny corporation that like things just happen to go their way. A lot of what I like about the show is how much of what happens to them just relies on luck.
Yeah, a lot,
Like,
especially in season
not
one.
that not that these aren't competent protagonists. They are very they're like they're very good at what they do. They're super competent, but like so much of their success and failure throughout the show just relies on like poor timing or good timing or something else happening that wasn't really related to them, but they were sort of dragged into. And that's sort of how war goes, right? It's like so much of it is just out of your control.
That's fair. Yeah. So they are grabbing her and they are transporting her to Earth because there's a hit on her head. And
yeah, so she had hired the company that they worked for, and then while they were getting ready to transport her, the coup happened, and she was like, "Okay, well, I still need people to take me there, and these child soldiers beat these adults, so maybe we do this."
Right. And that's where our journey begins after 20 minutes. That's how we get there. But
I think that's the first two episodes.
Yeah, it's the first two episodes.
The first two or three sort of smashed together for me, because also in this time, you get to learn a little bit about the Galahorn side, right? So you meet Ein, who is like the new recruit. He's also from Mars. He just didn't end up a child soldier. He ended up an adult soldier for the other side. And you meet his sergeant, who's like our Lieutenant Crank, I think.
Is that the old man?
Yeah, the man who like is part of the initial attack, and he's like, I can't believe we're killing children, and then the Barbatos shows up and ruins their day and kills the other guy. And so he decides he's going to go duel them.
Yes, I
and
remember.
try to end this honorably because he doesn't want his men to kill children because, you know, they're reasonable people in this universe. And that doesn't go well for him because he has to duel Mikazuki, who just, you know, does his job, and Tekkadan moves on, basically.
So then we get to the Gundam, the pinnacle. I'm not gonna lie, I used to think the Gundam looked stupid with their color scheme. After watching this, I understand why they did it, because it stands out and it looks fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Period.
The Iron-Blooded Orphans mobile suits in particular look so good. They look like drastically different from basically any other Gundam series, but they still are like immediately recognizable as Gundam, and I think that is a cool line for them to have developed. I think the Barbatos is also a particularly cool one because usually the Gundam seems to get more heroic as the show goes on. But as they like release the different versions of the Barbatos, because they need to make different model kits and stuff, right?
Yeah,
but I would say that the Barbatos definitely goes in the opposite direction. It does not look more heroic. It looks more and more demonic.
It does. Right? Which I actually just one of the episodes I watched last night. All the Gundams in the series are named after demons, right?
Yes. So they're named from the demons from, I'm going to get the pronunciation wrong, but I think it's the Ars Goetia, which is like the Book of Demons. It's like Solomon's demons, that sort of thing. So there are 72 of those demons, and so there should be roughly 72 Gundams.
Heard.
Right. And we throughout the series, I think we see 4 of them.
I was going to say 4 or 5.
Because we see 5 of them. And then we've seen a couple others in some like art books they've done. And then there's a spin-off series about another one. And I think there's a little side movie that comes out sometime this year that will have another one. So you know about like 8 of them. But that's another reason it feels like we might see more Iron-Blooded Orphans, is that they said there were 72 Gundams, and they need to make model kits for forever. So we'll probably come back and see at least a few more of those 72 Gundams, right?
That's fair. And I like that because it's kind of like, we're going to go back to Warhammer for a second. Warhammer had all of like, geez, I'm so bad with lore and everything, like all the original Primarchs, and then they like slowly released them throughout the years. Because I think there's like 6 of the Primarchs you can actually make now ish. I can't fucking remember. But
there are 4 Demon Primarchs currently that are model kits, and 2 Imperium ones. I think we'll probably see more, but also they have just killed a bunch of those, right? Yeah. There's a bunch of Primarchs that just you won't see because they are like lore dead.
Yes, and something I do like about Warhammer, and which transfers over to Gundam too, and their world lore building, is there's 72, but like we use your imagination. You know,
our story does not involve all 72 of them. Like there's a whole other world out there. And yeah, I think another thing to note about the Iron-Blooded Orphan Gundams is that they're much less like modern pieces of technology. They're like
Mm-hmm.
ancient suits of armor from a past age that
300
just
years old.
happen to be dope as hell, right?
Uh-huh.
They still just outperform other things because of the way they work. But it's a good way to, especially as you see the finale, it's a good way to look at them is think of them like swords, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not guns because they're not disposable, but they're like a master crafted sword. And I think, yeah, especially as you watch McGillis's like story unfold,
Mm-hmm.
just keep in mind like the story of Excalibur as
Okay.
he goes about his thing, and just a lot of character stuff about him that seems very weird. I think is explained if you like look at the way he views Gundams, like you would view something like Excalibur.
Yeah, and he's also super deep on like Galahorn lore.
Yeah, and that ties into it too. I don't want to spoil too much, but like his character at the end, if you're paying attention to him, it makes so much sense. Even the weird stuff that we'll talk about, because like he's got a child bride, which is weird,
A little bit.
but like within the context of the show, at the end of it, you go, "Oh, that's why," and it's still creepy, but it's way less creepy than it looks like.
So yeah, because I'm like at the beginning, like I was like, I don't know about this guy, but like he seems noble and like he seems like he's trying to do the right thing here. So I'm like, I think I like you, but at the same time, I'm like, you work for Galahorn, fuck you.
So, I mean, his character is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is again why I definitely want to do another part of this after you finish it, because a lot of the character bits
Mm-hmm.
are, because the characters are so integral to the plot. A lot of the character bits are spoilers,
Which is great,
and
by the way. I love that. It's great
yeah,
storytelling.
it's really really good. But it's so hard to say too much about some of them because of how it all shakes out, and the way it gets revealed is really like good.
Heard.
The show is really well written. Is the point I want to emphasize is like it's got some good politics to it. It's got some really good character building to it. It's got incredible world building to it, right? There's so much about the world that you gather just as they're going about their little mission.
Mm-hmm.
Like they help a freaking like Union Revolution.
Just by accident.
Like,
just like, well.
yeah, I mean they got tricked into it, but like straight up just, pro union, get it done, man.
And yeah, so they're going through, and then we're going to keep moving the plot forward.
Yeah.
And then yeah, they get tied up, they get in some battles, and then
Yeah, they make it. They go out into space. They take Cordelia into space. Galahorn tries to stop him. Barbatos beats a bunch of ass again. And then I think the next big thing is that they meet the turbines.
yes, so that was like a thing, and I'm glad that I watched Superman, so I knew what a harem was because that was explained very
Yes.
well in Superman. Because I never heard that before. That I'm like, what the hell's a harem? So yeah, what is this whole dynamic? So we got them, we've got like all the branches, and then they like get sworn in by a blood oath, and they become brothers.
Yeah. So there's a few levels to that relationship. So there's Tekkadan and the turbines, who, because Naze likes them because they're so clever, like they got him right, and Naze's a guy who's like, that I can appreciate that, like these kids fucking pulled one over on. And the dude who like clued them in is the shitty guy who owned the company that they took over, and he used child soldiers, and Naze's not about that. Naze likes kids. Spoiler alert: he has a lot of them.
Again, Naze, great character. I like what he's doing. Fucking weird, but I like him.
The way that's set up is explained near the end of the show.
Yes, I actually
Like,
found
it
that
is
out.
definitely, yeah. Oh, good. So how far have you gotten it with Naze's storyline?
What the fuck just finished? They just finished the Civil War, and then they were talking after the thing, and then she was basically like, "We're a bunch of fucking prostitutes."
No, not quite. It's more like, so because of the way this society is structured, right? Like if we're in a world where child soldiers are seen as like acceptable, women are not treated very well.
Yes,
So
I've gathered that.
Naze's whole thing is he was like a trader, right? An illegal merchant, who's pretty good at his job, and he teamed up with oh gosh, his partner and bodyguard, whose name I'm blanking on, which I feel bad about.
That's how I feel all the time.
Um, but he teams up with her, and eventually, like, they fall in love, right?
Mhm.
They make that explicit. Um, and she's like, I can't keep working with you. The reason I do this is like I go out and I protect those like women only companies that are
Mhm.
going to get preyed upon. And he's like, okay, well, how can I help? And eventually what he does is by making them his like common law wives, it gives them a bunch of rights
Mhm.
under the law. So everybody on his crew is his wife for that. Some of them are also into it, right? He's not, as he says, like he's not going to turn down a good time, but like it's not explicitly about that. It's about providing the cover of protection, and his joining up with Tewaz, which is the large
Mhm.
like like Yakuza group basically, right? Is what they
Yeah,
are.
I would say
And
that for sure.
right, and that's just to further the protections that he grants. So that's sort of the setup, and like obviously it's still a harem setup. Like it's an anime show, they're going to deal in anime tropes, right? So that you're gonna see it, but it's also a good indicator of like where this world sits, right? In that like the laws are so loose that something like that is effective, and the way that like especially as people go out, the way that like monogamous
Mhm.
setups aren't viewed as like better or worse. It's just another way of going about things. And especially when you look at like how the Gallarhorn elites are like marrying children off at 12,
Yeah.
like it like kind of it lays bare the hypocrisy and sort of like the moral judgments here. It's like, okay, so he's got multiple wives, and some people are going to look down on that, but he's not marrying children. He's actively got reasons for the choices he's making. He's not doing it because he wants to, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It just adds another level of complexity to this world that, again, they're not expelling any of this stuff out for you, but as you look at how things are viewed, you just kind of, get a fuller picture.
Oh yeah, and that's something I also enjoy is like nothing is explicitly told to you in this story. Again, back to E33, that's awesome. It's great world building. It's not like, hey, this is a thing, this is a thing, this is a thing. And like I said, I think because the way like she started describing it, it made it sound like they were like a bunch of sex slaves that he freed. But that makes sense with just kind of
So, I
rights
mean,
in general.
some of them were right. Some of them
Mhm.
are trafficked women, right? But
Mhm.
that's not all of them, and they all like. I guess my point is not so much that he didn't grab just like trafficked women, but it just generally like women in general are not treated well, and
Mhm.
so his is like a scheme to provide them protection.
Yeah, and then you just got a bunch of baddies in mobile suits that just wreck ass.
Yeah, laughter fucking rules.
So
I can't. It's Almira. I have to look her name up. It's gonna bug me if I don't look up
I
his
know who you're talking
his
about.
like his like wife prime. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's in like some booty shorts and has the big scar, and
Mhm.
she's Gooner bait.
Amida, that's her. Okay.
Yes, Amida.
Yeah.
So many names in this damn show, and then Biscuit. I like Biscuit. I miss Biscuit.
Shout out to Biscuit. Rest in peace, my man.
Dude was the realist. I feel like here's the deal: they had to kill Biscuit, otherwise, like Orga may have like started coming to his senses.
Bro, you got to finish this series. There's so much to talk about at the end, man.
we will. But it's actually helping me world build so I can understand this at the end. So
Yeah.
you're welcome, everybody, for my pain, because there's a lot of fucking shit in this damn show.
I think Orga is such an interesting character. There's so much to talk about, but it's all wrapped up in the finale.
Okay, so let's talk about what we can with Orga. So Orga is the leader of Tekkadan. How did he get to this position other than just saying, I'm in charge now?
You sort of nailed it.
Okay, cool, great.
Yeah, I mean, they will spell it out a little more explicit, but like the relationship Orga has to the rest of Tekkadan is one of like, you guys have a lot of like fighting potential and you're very motivated, but you don't know what to do. And I'm the only dude who can like pretend to have a plan.
That's fair.
Right. And so the relationship is one of like, they put all the pressure on him to come up with what they do next.
100%, yes.
Yeah, and the counterpoint of that is that once he decides what it is, they will do it, even if it's a bad idea, even if it's not going to end well for them. That's the deal.
And that's like a general plot in the show too. Is like everybody from the outside's like, Orga, what the fuck are you doing? Don't. And everyone in Tekkadan's like, yeah, bro, we got you. And then it just ends up being okay.
Yeah, and part of the point is that is like, and especially looking at the first to the second season, like the first season, it's like that works because there's so much trust there, right?
Mhm.
They know that Orga's not come up with no idea. He's got an idea of something that could work, and they can make that happen, right? Like Mikazuki is like, you tell me what to do, and that shit gets done.
Right. You just point your finger, boss.
Mhm. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to make your will happen.
And
That's
he
that's
does.
yeah.
Mikazuki just wills everything.
Mhm.
Dude's wild. So that yeah, that makes sense there. And we got the I'm trying to think of like as we keep going with all the things. Yeah, so Orga going through doing his thing, like we got a plan, we're gonna do it. People are like, hell yeah. And then we get the advisor from geez again, names, harem boy
Teiwaz.
from Teiwaz. And again, she's always I feel like she slowly keeps coming around, just seeing everything, but she's usually like, no, stop. I'll
You're talking about Miss Marybit?
yes.
Yes. Yeah, she's the adult in the room, right?
She
Like
really is.
she and she's usually right and they usually ignore her and like she's a great character cuz she like one of the reasons she's so good is she cares so much, right?
She does. She just rolls in and is like, boys.
She sees the problems, but she can't like how can you tell these kids who have never known anything other than how to fight to not fight, right? Like she can't leave because she can't abandon these kids, but she also can't convince them otherwise because what else are they gonna do?
Right. I like through the entire first season, I was just waiting for her to leave, like just to go back, but like she stays. She just stays because like
Yeah.
I don't think she has to, but she just does. And everyone just calls Orga boss, and Orga's the boss, and everyone's like, all right, cool, let's do this.
Yeah, it's worth noting this first season, like there's really not a ton of setbacks for Tekkadan.
No,
They
not
like
at all.
they kind of roll through it, right? Like they have a very clear goal and they smash their way to it. Like there's a couple sad moments, but man, you never at any point are like they might not make it. Like they're gonna make it.
Like you're like, yeah, why are you even trying? And it comes back to like, yeah, they're a small group, and no one has any idea who they are. So like the whole time, like, do you get? And it kind of shows up in the second season. People are like, oh god, it's Tekkadan. Like Mikazuki's here. The devil has shown up. We are fucked. Which is I enjoy.
After they meet Teiwaz, they meet the Turbines and Teiwaz. They kind of get to like re-up themselves. They rearm things. Barbatos gets a flashy new upgrade. It gets to like the fourth form, like classic look, right? The one you see on the box set. And they head out and they run into this group that uses a bunch of human debris as mobile suit pilots, who's like blocking their pathway to Earth. Who also they have a Gundam. It's a big old frog. It's a big old frog Gundam. Honestly, I love this Gundam. It's so weird looking. It's got a big giant hammer. The Gushin rules. I love it. We get this like big. I think it's the first time I really feel like they start fleshing out the side characters. Because during this fight, you find Akihiro, who's another mobile suit pilot. His brother is human debris for this other group, and doesn't go well. Spoiler alert: that kid gets smushed.
Yeah,
it's a bad time. But they beat these guys. They take the Gujin as like their victory spoils. They rework it into a totally different looking suit that is apparently supposed to be the same thing. And Akihiro gets to pilot that, and they bring over a bunch of the human debris that didn't get killed, and they let them go, and those kids all become part of Tekkadan too.
yeah, yay, happy ending.
Right, right, building a legacy. They're saving people, giving them freedom. Straight up abolitionists out here.
So going back to that, so there's the Gundam frame, right? So is every frame different, and then you put different things on top of the frame, or what's going on there?
It's sort of left up in the air. Each frame is unique. That being said, from a model kit perspective, every frame is exactly the same. But
fair, all right.
That's a little bit of a joke. But yeah, they're all like individually built. They're like handcrafted, right? So the Barbatos, you can put different armors on it, and you can kind of change the armor look of it. But the shape of the Barbatos and its functions are going to be the same. I don't think you've seen the final form yet, right?
Not yet. No, I've seen whatever the name is that they decided that they're not going to call it, and that's about it.
Because the final one, I think, is I don't know if it's supposed to be what the original like Barbatos from the Calamity War looked like, but it's definitely closer to it. Because there's some functions added that Mikazuki is even like, oh, it doesn't like it feels like it should have always had this, right?
Oh.
So you kind of get closer to what that was, and I'm not sure which direction like the Gujin is in. I don't know if it looked more like a frog in the past or if it looked more like what they rebuilt it into. I'd love to see like a movie or a short show in the Calamity War and just see some Gundams and see what they looked like. It'd be great. But,
that would be cool. So with that, let's actually go back a little bit. The Alea Vignana.
yes.
What is that? I mean, I understand it's like a surgery, goes in your spinal cord, gets your nervous system, lets you control some shit, and then you can do some cool ass shit with it. I know they put it on these on the human debris as well as a lot of Tekkadan have to do it at a young age. It's almost like kind of it's like the super dark version of stealing children to be Jedi. But yeah, let's go over that because that seems like a big part of the story and the universe.
Part of the conceit of the Gundams in this universe, the reason why they're so dangerous, is that using this system, this Alea system, you can just hook directly into a Gundam and it will like react to your thoughts. It will do what you want it to do, right? It'll increase your reaction speeds and you'll be a better pilot. The downside of this is that system, to have it installed, you have to have like nanobots put into your spine while it's still developing. So the process can only be done on children. And so that's one of the reasons why you see child soldiers. And what makes it worse for a lot of things is that for a lot of those kids, especially the ones that aren't human debris, it's a voluntary procedure. Mm-hmm. They don't get it because they're forced to. They get it because that's the only way they can get a job.
Heard. Yes. So
right.
Why do they need to do it multiple times? Because like Mika did it like what, 3 times?
3 times, and that's never explained explicitly. But I think what you're supposed to infer is that the more nanobots you have, the closer your control will be to the machine you're using.
Right. Which makes sense.
Because he's got extras in him, his reaction time is going to be faster, and he's going to be better. I don't think it makes him a better pilot, but it lets him use his potential even more than somebody who's not connected. Right?
Yeah, because at one point I think like he like took the governor off the damn Gundam, and then someone else tried to plug in, and it about killed him. So yes, we got the Alea Vignata, and then that's how Mika is able to just jump in the Gundam because like dude has never piloted a Gundam before. Back to episode 1, and Orga's like, Mika, go. And Mika's like, okay, boss. Jumps in the Gundam and just starts wrecking shit.
I think, again, because I think the implication is that Mika probably has piloted a mobile suit before, mm-hmm. right? The company they worked for had some. Yeah. Right? They other people use them. So I would bet Mika has some experience with it. He definitely hasn't used a Gundam before, right? But he knows how a mobile suit works.
And that's so like he just what I'm thinking of, because I like the sword analogy of the Gundam because you got like all the mass produced like bullshit mobile suits, and then the Gundam. I'm like just imagining like, yeah, there's a lot to go into that, and like being able to wield a claymore versus like a fine katana. Like, yeah, you need to like have some skill there. So that's where I'm like, dude just hopped in and was like, cool, let's go. And just wrecked it.
I love that you said that, because that, I mean, it's again explicitly what they show right during the finale of or not the finale, but the second half of the first season, when Mika gets a sword and he's like, I don't really love this. This is fine. And like for the final battle, he picks up a big ass wrench. He's like, yeah, this is my speed, right? Like,
hey, he's got like what? It's starting in the second season, just 2 big ass maces, just wrecking shit.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good counterbalance to what you see like Gjallarhorn, right? Because all the Gjallarhorn units, they have these fancy swords and they have like sword work, and that's they're not playing the same game, right? Mm-hmm. Mikazuki's like, I'm not here to be like the most elegant fighter. I'm here to remove you as an obstacle.
Straight up.
And then sometimes that's just smashing you, you know? Well, I'll get to it in a second, but I want to, because they make it explicit a couple times how he literally will just like smash a dude, like just like in the fight with Karta at the end of the first season when she tries to stop them on their train ride back, right? And like the guys get out of their mobile suits to talk to him, and like the one dude gets like bashed while he's on the bridge of his mobile suit, like yelling at them. He just gets smacked by the wrench, and you see just a little puff of blood as he like lands in the distance. Like it's nuts.
Also, this is not safe for children. There you
Yeah,
go.
this is. I mean, it's a show about war. Like one of the things about Gundam is that Gundam's always talking about war. That's whatever.
There's a lot of war.
With the exception of like fairly recently, they started doing the like show about Gunpla specifically, and those are about toys explicitly. But like most Gundam shows are just about war.
Yeah. And that's a lot of how I feel about Gjallarhorn. It's like, why? Why? I don't, why? What are you doing?
It's a corrupt institution that's existed for hundreds of years, right? They've got a lot of power and they let that power like grow. But they haven't kept up with like the doctrine that they were supposed to believe behind. So you've got a bunch of like corrupt people with a lot of power. It's like, it's classic. It's every government in the world right now, right? Like it's a bunch of people who have never known how to do anything but politic, and they like that's what it is.
That's fair.
That's sort of McGillis's whole like deal, right? That's the reason he's saying that he's doing this.
Yeah.
Is that like Gjallarhorn is so much worse than it should be.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And he's just like one dude's like, I got this. Like I'm gonna
yeah.
He is like I would say is the mirror image of Orga, in the fact that they want pretty much like the same thing, to like help their people and do things, but like go about it in two very different ways. Like Orga is the hammer and McGillis is the scalpel.
Yeah, I think especially where you are, I think that totally holds up. You haven't gotten to his background yet, right?
A little bit. He was adopted / was like an illegitimate child, and then got in, and then people hated him because he was pretty much like Jon Snow.
Okay, so yeah. So you got the part of it that like everybody knows, but you haven't gotten the like story. There's like an episode that focuses on his background.
We have not gotten that far yet. It was just like a quick flashback of him as a kid meeting the old dude with the goatee for the first time while he was reading a book.
Yeah, they go back further than that. But I think your comparison of him to Orga is pretty spot on. He's sort of, I think he's closer to like Mikazuki's mirror, right? Because basically the story of like Tekkadan versus McGillis is the story of like community versus going your own way, right? Like their stories are very similar, but McGillis decided he was going to do this all by himself.
Yeah.
And Tekkadan from the start was like, we are a group of people that will get through this.
Yeah. For the betterment of all of us. For the betterment of all of us, as opposed to the betterment of me.
We're gonna find a place where we fit, right? Where we belong. That's their whole goal.
Yeah. And then McGillis is very much, I'm going to make this work for what I know.
Yeah.
And what I believe.
Yeah, exactly. And I think once you get his background and stuff, a lot of his moves make more sense. I don't think you would. I don't agree with them. I still think they're like dumb overall. But at least you get the idea of why he did the things he did, like why he thought that they were the moves he should make.
Continuing, where are we now? I think we got McGillis.
McGillis sort of ties in throughout. So we'll talk about him just kind of as we go. But story wise, after defeating the group with the Gujin, they deliver these goods that they're supposed to deliver for Teiwaz to this mining, or not this mining planet, but like this colony.
The
Door
colony.
3?
Yeah, I think it's Door 3, you're right.
And that's where they find out they're supplying guns for this workers' revolution.
Yep. They were like, wait, hold up.
While that's happening, Kudelia is going shopping with Atra and her assistant. And they're out
the assistant.
they're out in public when all of this goes down. And you also find out that Kudelia's assistant has been betraying her, basically. But she dies, and she feels bad about it at the end. So we mourn her, sort of.
Thanks, McGillis.
That was one of the weaker moments where I was like, this feels a little.
It was a little forced.
But I think it's fine. It's pretty common, right? You've got somebody who is notable but not particularly powerful yet, and so you put somebody nearby to keep an eye on them and things like that, right? I see it making sense. I think it feels weird that that everybody was so like chill about it. I feel like people should be upset, but she did die immediately, so maybe we just let it move on.
I think they're like, I feel like that part, because it was so quick, there wasn't really any build up to it. It was just like Cordelia's doing her thing. Oh, by the way, this is a thing. And then McGillis is like, hey, this is a thing. And then she's dead.
It actually, once you know about it, like rewatching it, they definitely hint at it a few times, right?
Yeah.
Things that out of context you probably aren't paying attention to, but like that lady's doing shit in the background.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't feel like it did hurt a little bit where I was like, come on, like you've known her since she was a child. Why you gotta be a bitch? Like, no loyalty. Again, the opposite of Tekkadan, like just zero loyalty.
I think it's more complicated than that because I think there was loyalty. That's why she like felt so conflicted about it at the end, right? She was like she was put there before she knew this kid, and so she did hate this kid, and she probably still hates this kid in some ways. But as she gets to know her, she also knows that like it's a kind person, wants to help people, right? That conflicts. Like you can still hate the things that they like represent to you, right? That upper class, and acknowledge that like, okay, but they do want to be better. They do want to try to help, right? And so, yeah, I think that's probably why she ends up dying and she gets conflicted about it, right?
She takes one for the team.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Because there's, that little assassination attempt there, which I think at that point is when I stopped hating Cordelia. Because, like, at the very beginning, I was like, I hate you.
I think Mikazuki makes a pretty good argument for her early on when they're leaving Mars or whatever, and she like does the broadcast and they're able to like fly through because Galahorn stops, right?
Which
like,
that was a bad bitch move.
Yeah, right. And I think it kind of develops here again. Gundam likes to have this type of character, this like caller of peace, who is also like a character who's not a Gundam pilot type thing. But a lot of times, I think they fall kind of flat. The one that you would remember would be like Relena Peacecraft from Gundam Wing.
Yeah.
She just kind of stood around and like yelled that people shouldn't fight, but she wasn't doing a whole lot. And I think Cordelia really works because she's in the middle of it all the time. Right? She's not like calling from the sideline. She's like in the middle of people who just got gunned down by the military.
And she shows up and Orga's like
doing.
Yeah, Orga's like, bro, chill out. She's like, no, I'm here. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Heard. Yeah, great. You're going to get shot, but okay.
Yeah, and she learns to use her ability of like persuasion and statecraft effectively, right? She becomes a useful member of the team with her skill set, which is always a fun thing to say.
And then slowly going in, she becomes a little bit more powerful. But then like she's got to start making some shady deals to get things done, which I enjoy because she's
that's sort of the story of Tekkadan though. Is like from the beginning they've had to make shady deals. It's one shady deal after another because it lets them put one foot in front of the other, right?
Lots of shady deals.
they make a gamble and they join up with Naze, and that gets them into Tewaz, who is a criminal organization, right? Like they're straight up part of the mob as soon as that goes through. That's just a reality. They're like the military complex side of the mob's interests.
Yeah. And then they just kind of get into like, again, you got these children. Again, we're kind of going back and forth between the seasons right now. But yeah, they just become like military, just like advisors on Earth. Just like, I mean, they're effective. Do it. Cool. Great. Bye. And then, then all that happens in the start of season 2, which is super fun between the Earth's side and the Mars side. And then all the shadery in the middle there.
Yeah, and that's all a direct result of what happens at the colony, right? Because what happens at the colony scares Galahorn because they can't really control it, right? They put some people down, but because Cordelia like makes her thing and they get it on camera and they get to like send it out to the other colonies, she sort of like sparks revolution in all these colonies, and Galahorn freaks out. Which lets them kind of cruise their way to Earth. Well, not cruise. They get jumped by Galahorn a couple times, but they like head towards Earth. Honestly, things go pretty well for them until they get to Earth and they meet up with this like he's the exiled prime minister of the country coalition Arbrow, right? Which includes Canada because their goal is to get to Edmonton.
Heard. So yeah, why is he exiled, and like how does the whole parliament system work? Because I feel like that just kind of goes in, hey, there's parliament, there's this dude, he shows up, we got to get him there, Cordelia shows up, I'm going to say some words. Like it all happens very fast. Also, you're very blurry. I
think you know exactly enough about it. Like they're not going to tell you how parliamentary procedure works. What basically the situation when they land is this guy's been exiled for political reasons. probably because the group in power decided to push him out or something.
Yep.
But there's an election being held, and he's still got a bunch of influence in the country. Right? He wasn't like unpopular. He was pushed out because of political movements from this lady who'd been working with Galahorn.
Right.
So he's like, if I can get in there and say that I'm a candidate, I will win. Like, people like me. I've got the support. I just need to physically be there. Get me there.
Okay.
And that becomes their goal, because that gets Kudelia a strong ally on Earth to allow her to start making these deals that will help Mars, which is her plan, right? She wants to pull Mars out of poverty and make a world where there don't have to be child soldiers because people can farm and there's industry on Mars independently. And Tekkadan, that's just that they've been hired to do the next job. And so now, instead of working for Kudelia directly, they're working for Makanai, and they're going to get him to Edmonton. They are tracked on their way down to Earth, so they do meet up with him, and then they're followed by this fleet from Galahorn that's just designed to like guard the Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where Karta Issue is, and she chases down. She's been good friends with McGillis and McGillis's friend Galileo.
Oh, poor Galileo.
They meet up, and they have a good thing, and she's basically egged on to chase them down onto Earth, and she catches them a little bit off, well, not even that off guard. Tekkadan wrecks her unit, but she does manage to kill Biscuit, which is sad. And then we do just a short time cut of them getting away, and then all of a sudden they're on a train, and it's cold. And so there's a time jump there of a couple weeks, maybe a month. I don't know. They don't really explain.
Very anime.
Karta comes back to try to stop them because she couldn't before, and she gets murdered along with everybody who comes with her because Mikazuki's mad that she killed Biscuit,
which is fair.
Yeah,
he just John Wicks her.
Yeah, he doesn't like immediately end her life. She's like bleeding out and dying, and Galileo comes in and grabs her and pulls her away. And he's like sad and upset that his friend is dying, and he's swearing revenge. And then he gets stopped by this dope mobile suit called the Grimgird that we only see once, and they never show it again. But it's sick as hell, and it's piloted by McGillis, and he's like, big reveal, I'm betraying you, because by doing that, I'll be able to take more control of Galahorn, and I'll be able to move closer to my objectives. And Galileo doesn't like that, and they fight, and Galileo gets murdered. He gets
hardcore murdered.
Yeah. Just gets killed. And that's basically where that story sort of stops. And then we go back to Tekkadan, and they do this big push into Edmonton. I forgot to talk about what's happening with Ein, the Galahorn soldier, through all this. Ein keeps trying to stop Tekkadan, and it gets worse and worse for him every time. He eventually gets pretty killed. I'd say about 80% killed after saving Galileo from Mikazuki. But it's okay because he gets convinced, as he's just like a head and part of a torso, to get put into a robot, and they'll hook up a new Alina system into him, and he gets a big giant graze, and he goes after Tekkadan in a big old robot suit.
Yeah, that was intense. That entire like super Alea Vignana super suit, like that, like he pretty much becomes a cyber psycho, honestly.
He becomes a literal dreadnought from Warhammer 40K. He's a dead man in a walking tomb that will fight on as long as he can. It's 100% what he is.
Yep, it was wild. Because
unfortunately, it's not that long though.
It's not. It was a sweet fight, and it was like, because I like the way this, like the cinematography in it. Like when he was talking, it was the suit. Like, and anytime you see anybody else talking, like they're in the suit, everything. No, it's just like, I am the suit now. So yeah, he is definitely like that dreadnought. And I think you only see like maybe 2 shots of him just like suspended in Bacta and just connected.
Yeah. He's just a little like person battery for this robot. And he's scary. He definitely he throws around several members of Tekkadan who are like skilled pilots. He beats Laughter and Azzy from the Turbines, who've always been like straight up keeping up with the Tekkadan boys. And then Mika lets Barbatos take over and ends that fight very quickly.
So okay, that part. I just figured like he just undid some limiters and just went Super Saiyan, but like Barbatos like just takes over like it's alive.
It's hard to say. So there seems to be some idea that the Gundam frames like keep part of you inside them.
Okay.
The founding myth of Gallarhorn, which you might have gotten to or you'll get to very soon, is about the guy who first like who does the first Gundam Bale. He's the pilot. It's Agnika Kairu.
Yes.
And like their belief is that his soul still resides within the Bale because I believe he died in it.
Okay.
Right. And so I think there's some idea that there might be something more than just robotics happening with the Gundams because Mika talks a few times about Barbatos talking to him.
Yes, he does. He does that a few times.
And that could just be him like giving it emotions that he like feels it like are appropriate to express. But it could also be that there's like something else happening because he definitely gives up some control, right, to use Barbatos to its full potential.
Yes, and then like the armor comes off, and he just like becomes like a samurai ninja there towards the end, which is super cool. So I mean, that's kind of cool, like because he's always talking about like talking to Barbatos, like just straight up, like as he's a dude, like almost like he's a droid, and they're kind of connected. I kind of want to, because I know you're into both of these. Is that I was going to say similar to like Pacific Rim? I know there's like two people in Pacific Rim, but they like combine into like one consciousness.
No.
Okay.
It's closer to, if I'm right, because we only get this little bit, right? If I'm right, it's closer to like how knights work in Warhammer 40K.
Okay.
Where like your consciousness is like imprinted on the knight and it sticks around, so the next pilot you like talk to, but because you're an Eric, like that type of thing, but definitely not as pronounced, right? If it is, it's like echoes of a thing.
Heard. Okay.
Right? It's definitely not. I wouldn't say it's a primary focus, but it could be something that if they wanted to explore in the future, I wouldn't be surprised if they said was a thing. Right?
That'd be kind of cool, like a mystical side almost of giant robots.
That's one of the things that Iron-Blooded Orphans is missing that a lot of Gundam has, is that there is sort of a mystical like space magic type, right? In the main Gundam series, they're called new types, and they're like advanced forms of people. The way you see that most commonly expressed is that they're incredible mobile suit pilots, but they have other things that they do too, right?
Heard.
But yeah.
That just came out of nowhere because the whole time he's like, Barbatos. I'm like, what? Are you just talking to your robot to like pep yourself up, or like what's going on here? So yeah, okay, that's kind of cool. I like that. I like the Echoes idea.
I think it's not as likely as that there not being anything, right? Because we don't see Akihiro do that really. We don't see Shino do that with his Ryusei Go 4. So yeah, it's not 100%. It also could also be that maybe those Gundams never had a pilot die in them.
Yeah.
Right? Or maybe not connected or something, and the Barbatos did. It's up in the air, and it's not that important, but it is kind of fun to think about.
It's fun story building. Like fan fiction. Yeah. Great. Love it.
Yeah, and yes. So basically the way the first season ends is that they get Makanai to Edmonton. They smash through Gallarhorn's forces. They kind of reveal that Gallarhorn is not the like all-powerful protector that they claim they are, because a bunch of kids with two ancient mobile suits smashed through defenses and change the course of this country's history.
Yeah.
And that leads directly into the second season, where it's like, as a reward from that, they're helping train the new defense force of this country. They've established that like they have an Earth branch and a Mars branch. Like Tekkadan's doing very well for themselves. They have a bunch of new hires, which is some new characters you get to meet, and they're all better than I remembered them being, right? Like I thought second season, again, when I watched it, was one where I thought it was kind of slow and they weren't focusing on the characters that I was interested in. And watching that week to week over the course of months killed a lot of my momentum. But watching it back to back, these characters are really good. I think they fit right in. They tell stories that the current Tekkadan characters don't quite get. I think that they're all really good additions.
No, yeah, I agree. And I do also agree with your first statement, being like, I don't care about these characters right now, but like towards like was it Hush, the one who was stuck on Earth that had to take over for, was it Chad?
Oh, Takaki.
Yes, Takaki. Yeah, so like
Yeah.
his little sub story of like being like, yes, Orga said this, right? And just being in full trust of like everyone around him. Like there is no traitors in Tekkadan. Like it doesn't even cross his mind as anything. And like even his bestie ends up dying because shit sucks and like internal affairs. And like they just have so much blind faith that everyone around them is trustworthy and perfect that it ends up killing a lot of them. So I like to, after that ended, I'm like, oh, I actually enjoyed the storyline. This is something I want to go back and rewatch with a new found like understanding of like, okay, I understand there's a lot of build up with a great resolution, but like you said, if you're watching it week to week, like you don't see the build up.
Yeah.
Which is something I do enjoy about like modern television all coming out all at once and you can just binge it. Like if you watch like Daredevil, like 1 week at a time, I feel like it would lose its impact as opposed to I'm going to sit down and watch Daredevil today. And then you get to see the entire thing unfold.
I think there are benefits to each, right? Mm-hmm. And I think the big disconnect here is that some people don't have the option to choose the method of delivery that works best for them, right? They're either tied into traditional TV scheduling, and so the product they make has to come out in X amount of episodes.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, where their product has to come out all together because that's what Netflix wants, right? Whereas some things are really good to release as a chunk, and some things really want a week-to-week release.
Heard? Yeah.
Right. It just depends on what the intention is behind the thing you're watching.
Fair. There's a few things like Star Wars. Like, I feel like the modern Star Wars TV, like you should probably watch all at once. Just because it is basically one giant movie. But like episodic things, I don't think would be so bad because like think about like White Collar and then like old like Buddy Cops, like that kind of makes sense because it's separated stories into like each episode and then like you just tie into everything towards the end. But I feel like because this is just like one big story. Like yes, there's like sub whatevers, but because it's one big story, sitting down and like watching it all unfold at once, I feel like is super helpful. So.
Yeah, especially with Gundam series, the scale expands as the story goes on because you usually start pretty focused on your main characters and their things, and then as you learn more about the politics that they're interacting with, the scope and the amount of characters that you have to keep track of expand. And so if you watch it week to week, unless you're like really, really invested in week to week things, you're going to miss some of that. Whereas if you're watching it back to back, you can be like, oh, I see what this character has been doing the whole time. I understand what that story is, right?
No, for sure. And I see, because I've been doing it like at like about 6 episode chunks. Just like before bed. And that's usually about like how they do like each little just like
I'd say arcs loosely break down that way because the way that the show released is 2 seasons, 25 episodes each.
Yep.
And then you can see when they kind of split to the next part of each season when the opening changes. So it's like 12 episodes for the first arc and then 13 episodes for the second. So, and then within that, if it's not a longer story, they usually do about 5 episodes for the first story, 5 episodes for the second story type thing, right?
Yeah, which I like because it you still have your big overarching thing, but like it's nice and chunked. So if you want to just sit down and like watch a chunk, you're good. Just you pretty much know when things resolve because the music changes. Orga says some shit. He's like, "We got this. Tekkadan."
Yeah. I think hitting the season 1, let's pause here, let you finish the show, and then we'll come back and do the other half because we talked a lot about the first season, just kind of going through it, but like I think you're going to want to talk about the finale once you've seen it.
Fair. And so
you're going to have a lot of thoughts, and I think you're going to want to express them, and I think that's going to be some good content.
Good. I like that we have like a little 2-parter to this bad boy.